Amazing. Okay, cool. Super excited to talk a bit about what has happened over the past year on the Adobe Express add-on platform, and also give you a sneak peek into some of the cool things that are coming for the in the near future as well. And I'm going to be super excited to have Peter Flynn. He's an engineer on one of the teams to talk more about some of the document level capabilities that are coming in as well. So I'm really excited to be able to share the stage with him. Let me get started real quick. So in case you're all not aware, I want to do some level setting. What are add-ons in the context of Express? So if you haven't had a chance to play with these, or you're just joining and you missed Andy's amazing demo of the bulk create add-on, which is really cool. Add-ons are easy to use integrations and tools that users can easily discover and use inside of Express. And they can do all sorts of things. We're going to go over the laundry list of what add-ons can actually accomplish in a moment, but just calling out a few interesting add-ons, some that have been recently published and some that are really powerful. Video backgrounds, Mojo AI, and I'm just now realizing there's a typo there, apologies, and Staccato AI music. But we've got 90 really amazing add-ons that I would encourage you to go check out. And a lot of these will serve as great patterns if you're interested in building your own add-on. So it's always a good idea to see how developers are approaching the platform. And why might you want to build an add-on for Adobe Express? So there's lots of reasons why you might want to do that, but I'll call out 3 in particular. So number 1, scale your reach. And this is a way to really meet marketers and communicators and small business owners and people who are building content as on teams and the like, for business, where they create. So you can really have your feature, your technology, your particular service right at their fingertips inside of Adobe Express. You can also unlock new capabilities. So fully aware that you as developers can do some amazing, fantastic, sometimes surprising things that we might not even have thought you could do, you could do with the capabilities we provide. You're always surprising us with your innovation and your creativity. And so having extensibility and add-ons inside Adobe Express really allows you to unlock new capabilities that we might not have ever dreamed of and that our users might not have expected. And so this really lets you create some engaging experiences. And extensibility is also really great for custom workflows and automation and ensuring that you're able to build add-ons that are specific maybe for your personal needs, your team needs, or your business needs. Add-ons are built on a familiar technology stack. They're powered by familiar web technologies, so HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or TypeScript if that's your jam. And you can leverage popular libraries as well. So if you're familiar with React or other forms of frameworks, you can leverage that. You can also leverage popular JavaScript libraries in here as well, because your add-on really is just living inside of an iframe on a browser. We'll also have a demo later on today from Hamza about how quickly you can get started. So I encourage you to go check that out. Now let's getting into some of the capabilities of what add-ons can do. Add-ons can show UI in a lot of places. Right now, you can have your user interface show up in a panel. You can also leverage modal dialogues invoked from a panel, or you can even start new windows from an add-on. So there's lots of capabilities for where your user interface should live. And we also have provided a lot of OAuth utilities to make that kind of flow easier for anything that requires login. I'm also calling out here on this slide, we've got a whole set of design guidelines, and we encourage you to use Spectrum Design and Spectrum Web Components. This enables your add-on to feel really like it belongs within the Adobe Express user interface, and users are going to feel more comfortable using your add-on in that kind of context. They already know how the form controls work. They already know how some of the idioms work. So we definitely encourage you to review the design guidelines and build your add-on following existing patterns. I also want to call out something new that's been added fairly recently, and you'll start to see more of this. Aubrey's mentioned it in his talk as well. Add-ons are surfacing more contextually across the Adobe Express UI. And one of the things we just recently added, we welcomed issue to the share sheet. So this gives you a hint as to what's coming in terms of how we imagine add-ons functioning within Express, not just always limited to a panel on the right side, but really being available contextually when and where the user needs them. And as some of you have already asked on chat, we are excited to announce that mobile support will be coming soon. I don't have a whole lot of details to share right now, but definitely keep an ear out and watch our newsletter and blog posts and support channels, and we'll definitely be sharing more information as that comes along. They will also be very contextual on mobile. We want to make sure that add-ons are easily accessible for users right when they need them. But we will be sharing more information coming here soon. So no announcement on dates just yet, but it is coming very, very, very soon. You also saw some things that we've been doing for developer improvements in Aubrey's talk, but I just wanted to briefly mention a few of these things as well. We've expanded the add-on submission surface. You don't have to create a new document to submit an add-on or create private links, but also we've added localization and monetization details over the past year as well. So I encourage you to go check that out if you haven't reviewed that experience. That's now available from Express Home instead of having to create a document. We've also in the past year added developer insights, and more information about this will be coming soon. There are some sessions later in the day where you'll be able to learn more details about how our developer tools are going to be progressing. We've got a super quick developer workflow. You can get started in just a few minutes, and we've made some small tweaks here that makes this even easier. For example, if you're still using the CLI version 1, upgrade to CLI version 2. You don't have to log in anymore. So that's awesome. You will still have to log in on Express, but your CLI won't be popping up windows saying, hey, log in, but you will need to update to V2. There's also live reload and tons of in-app tools to make your process even easier. And we, as Aubrey mentioned, we are working on a developer playground. And so this will enable you to play around, inspect, build out scripts and build out UI and really do it in a quick iterative fashion, in a playful manner, learn through discovery, learn through, innovate through play. And really get a good feel for how things are going to work before you even commit that to building up an add-on project or the like. So really excited for that. More details coming in later sessions. And with that, I am going to hand it off to Peter Flynn to share some more details about the API capabilities that we've added over the course of the last year and some things that are coming soon.
Thanks, Kerri. So the end of last fall, we launched a huge new set of APIs that provide rich and really detailed access to the content of the user's Express document accessible from your add-on code. So you can traverse the document structure, understand the organization of the user's document in across pages and things like that. And then you can access any of that content, and you can also edit or delete content across the entire document structure at any time. So there's no edit context or other limited scopes to deal with here. And you can get and set the user's selection to make your add-on more contextually focused. It's really easy to add media to the user's document. You can add still images, video, audio, which we launched at Max last fall. You can bring in Photoshop or Illustrator documents as linked assets. We launched that this spring. And then coming soon, you'll be able to bring in animated GIF images as well. And I'm sort of highlighting here that the different points in time at which we're bringing things in to really highlight that this is a continuous investment in growing out our APIs capabilities. So it's not just a one and done thing here where we're sort of launching a set of APIs and walking away. This is really an ongoing long-term roadmap, and there's a lot more that we want to build coming up, which we'll also be talking about. So in addition to adding media assets like this, you can also add rich user editable content like vector shapes, and even arbitrary sort of SVG style Bezier paths, which we launched this winter. You can add text content, and that's a big area that has a lot of active ongoing work still. So there's more exciting things coming there that I'll mention again in a couple of slides. You can create groups, you can ungroup content that's already grouped. You can move content in and out of groups. And then you can also work with the high-level structure of the document. So the pages that the user has broken the document content across. You can create pages, rearrange pages, delete pages. And as of March, you can also clone or duplicate an existing page. And then the same thing for the scenes or artboards within each page. You can create, rearrange, and delete scenes as well. And then for working with the content on a page, you can position and rotate content. You can adjust its Z order. You can get detailed information about the bounding box and registration point of content, so you can really understand the relative size and position of different pieces of content when doing things like programmatic layout and auto arranging. Coming soon, you'll have a generic API that lets you resize any content you want, even groups containing multiple pieces of different content. And then already today, you can apply masking and cropping and adjust the cropping of not just images, but also any arbitrary content inside a group. And we have more enhancements coming in that area as well to make it even easier to work with images than it is today. And then as far as the visual styles of content, like vectors, you're able to read and edit things like fill color, stroke weight, dash patterns, compositing settings like opacity and blend mode. And then coming soon, you'll also be able to have access to detailed character styles, including working with premium fonts, paragraph styles, and bullet and numbered lists in text content. And so everything I've sort of highlighted here has been largely focused on bringing content into the Express document and then editing it or manipulating the content inside the document. I'm going to hand it back to Kerri now to talk more about the ability to get content out of the Express document and the ability to integrate with external services in the context of that content. Back to you, Kerri.
Thanks, Peter. Some really exciting APIs and capabilities there, and the fun continues. So over the course of the past year, we added the ability to see additional information about the document. So you can access information per page, including things like, does it have some premium content on it, or does the page have animated content? And we will be continuing to expand this over time as more features come in. We also added, it seems like a small thing, but it's not, the ability to get unique IDs for nodes within the document as well. And that can be super useful for keeping track of elements within the document. And coming soon, I know this is a continual ask from the developer community. When are we going to get the ability to attach plugin or add-on specific data to an individual node or page? And that is in active development. It's coming soon. Keep an eye out for that, because once that happens, we'll really be able to unlock the ability of add-ons, not just to create content, but to remember how that content was created, so users can feel like add-ons have edit rights and they don't just have to always delete and re-add content from an add-on. I think this is going to be a tremendous boost. There's other use cases here as well, but couldn't be more excited to get that out the door here. So keep an eye out for this capability. It will definitely make add-ons even more powerful. We've also got a lot of capabilities for getting content or renditions out of the document. So when we launched add-ons, we were able, we started with PNG and JPEG. You could export video. You can export PDF as well. We added the ability to request smaller resolutions to video. That was shipped in March. And we also added the ability to render specific pages. And this was shipped in December. So no longer do you have to render either just the current page or the entire document. You can go and get specific pages out of the document. And that can maybe, save some time or really, help you generate thumbnails for your user interface if you want to allow the users to pick which pages they want to send to a service. Along with getting renditions, we also started to ship some print-based APIs. And as you can, if you've been following Express lately, there is an entire set of new capabilities around, print, getting print-ready documents for your own local print. And we've been adding some additional APIs here around a print intent and the ability to control bleed. These initially started shipping around in February, and there's definitely more to come over the course of the year. So keep an eye out for additional print support down the line. I also wanted to call out premium content support. So Express is a freemium product. There is a free tier and there is a premium tier, which means that there are some content that is gated behind the user's access to certain to premium content, and add-ons need to be able to respect that. We had an initial flow last year when we released add-ons, but we've since come back and improved that by giving the ability for an add-on to launch the in-app upgrade flow if necessary. And so this really means that the user can stay within Express, stay within your add-on, and then upgrade their pre-Express experience if they need to have access to some of that premium content. And they can all do that without leaving Express, which is very, very important. So check the documentation for links on how to use that. It's definitely an improvement over what we shipped with last year. And just some miscellaneous capabilities, because some of these are a little bit buried in our documentation, but I wanted to call out. You can control the size of your authentication window. So if you're using OAuth, we released the ability to specify the window size. Some OAuth providers have very large windows, or lots of content that need to be on there. So wanted to call that out, that it's there if you need it. We've also got a couple of experimental APIs. Register iframe is useful for any add-ons that need to have iframe content that interacts with the add-on SDK. Currently in experimental mode, going to be getting taken out of that here shortly, but will be a requirement to use if you need an iframe to communicate with Express. And then we just released a new interesting API for opening panels on the left-hand side of Express. You can also pre-populate search terms. This can be really useful if your add-on needs to work with, start from like a template, like creating a logo or creating a presentation or what have you, and you want to give the user a pre-populated search term or guide them to the right panel without having to tell them how to get there. Your add-on can now invoke that directly. Currently experimental, but we will be moving that to stable here soon as well. So keep an eye out on that as well. So we've given you the fire hose of information. There's tons of capabilities that add-ons can do. And I want to echo something that Peter mentioned. This is definitely, not the final version of the SDK surface. It's not the final version of all the API capabilities. Express is continuing to evolve, and so will the developer platform. And so want to call out that, continue to check back in, continue to build, but the API surface will be continuing to improve and grow over time. So I encourage you to go check us out on X or Twitter, depending on how you call it, on Adobe Devs. Check out our developer videos. There's tons of great content there. And I also encourage you to follow our newsletter, read the Adobe Tech blog. There will be lots of announcements that go out on these as well, as big things happen. And certainly join us for our office hours, and check out our Discord. We have really great conversations with developers. Developers give us feedback. We have developers helping developers, which is awesome to see. So really take a look at joining that community if you're interested in building add-ons, or if you need help. I'm happy to help there as well. Last but not least, always definitely check out the changelog, check out the documentation. So much is going on there, and we're going to be continuing to release new APIs over the course of the year. So so it's a good way to keep a pulse on any new capabilities or new information. Also check out the Adobe Fund for Design if you fall into some of those categories. Encourage you to apply there. And last but not least, I know I said this on the previous slide, but really last but not least, talk to us. We value your feedback and suggestions. So submit some general Adobe Express feature requests, or request some add-ons you'd like to see, or even provide suggestions for improvements. You can do that on user voice, but you can also do that, drop it in chat or drop it over in our Discord channels. Anywhere you want to give feedback, it is more than welcome. So really do appreciate everything, all the feedback and all of the suggestions. It is tremendous. Quickly want to call out, there's several sessions that cover more content than I've just shared on Marketplace or developers or add-on use cases or how to get started. So definitely stick around to catch those sessions, or at least maybe watch those recordings later if you can't stick around. But more details to be shared there as well. And last but not least, I just want to say thank you to the entire developer community. We would not be at 90 add-ons if it were not for you. We would not be have as amazing capabilities if it were not for you, as much innovation that we have on the platform if it were not for you. So truly and really from the bottom of my heart, I want to send a huge thank you to this community. Everything you're doing is amazing, and super excited to see what the future will hold.